I want to be the best in the game, invest in my name, check no restraints, I'm obsessed with the pain, I ingest, I retain, assess and I change, possessed by the thought I'll be free one day from society's restraints, money, clout and fame, mud, disease, a plague, we all love to hate, have to play the game, have to make a name, all our insecurities are on display. This is war with the enemy, think that it was meant to be, living in a time where disease is on every screen, I won't let them fester me, I know most are festering, negativity is a plague for the mentally weak, no mercy, all I got is working, never stop searching, never quench the thirsty, I'm toxic and psychotic, with this logic, you can't stop it, it's been chronic, since I was a boy, so neurotic and chaotic,
built to last with the webs I'm weaving, I could change the past with all I'm achieving, got my foot on gas, never stop competing, if you break like glass, then this life's gonna eat 'em, make mistakes real fast, then you learn how to beat 'em, if you take off the cast, you can see all the healing, if the pain's in the past, move on from the grave and put your foot on the gas, no, never stop competing, yeah.
I've been doing this, I'm on it, I just wanna be iconic, sipping on a gin and tonic, got me going off when I'm on this topic, yeah, if I ever play I want it, you know that I'm always honest, stay away from those who are toxic, keep them out your face, no way, you don't want it, yeah.
Don't try to drain my energy, the enemy is everything, it's mentally, unhealthily, spreading like a rare disease, but I won't let it get to me, I don't need your therapy, I can leave a legacy of leading by intensity, come on, we can fight this, freedom is priceless, spread just like a virus, living in a crisis, do you feel courageous, do you seek greatness, trust me you can take it, go on and take your aim, yeah. Built to last with the webs I'm weaving, I could change the past with all I'm achieving, got my foot on gas, never stop competing, if you break like glass, then this life's gonna eat 'em, make mistakes real fast, then you learn how to beat 'em, if you take off the gas, you can see all the healing, if the pain's in the past, move on from the grave and put your foot on the gas, no, never stop competing, yeah.
Welcome back to the NBA Betting Pros YouTube special. We come at you every Wednesday and Friday and bring you the sides, the totals, and the props to help you win your bets on the NBA slate. I'm Mike Randall. You can follow me on Twitter at Randall Rant. Again, here at Betting Pros, so many great articles, so many great things that you can learn that are actionable insight here for your bets. Make sure to subscribe to the channel below the YouTube channel, hit that like button, and go to bettingpros.com and check out all the great material that we have here for you. Just a reminder, folks, that this Friday, April 1st, this is not an April Fool's Day joke. We're going to be giving away an autographed Dennis Rodman Chicago Bulls jersey to one lucky viewer. All you have to do to get this, be a subscriber to Betting Pros channel, and you walk away with some great NBA memorabilia courtesy of course, Pristine Auction. All you have to do, subscribe to the Betting Pros channel before Friday's live stream. Join us live. Put a comment in the chat, and one lucky person will be selected. That's it. We'll pick the winner live here on Friday, April 1st. Looking forward to it, so make sure you stick around to the end of the live stream to claim that prize on Friday. You know the drill, folks. Wednesday and Friday, we bring you the rest of the NBA slate. The entire season, we're going to do this heading into the playoffs. The best consensus game picks and player props, thanks to all of our experts here at bettingpros.com. So make sure you subscribe. And there's so many great deals at the sites across the entire country. Sports betting continue to grow both here, Canada, all over the place. New users to BetMGM, just bet $10 on any event and you'll win $150 in free credits regardless of the outcome of the bet. Just use that promo code JUICE150 when you sign up. The link can be found in the video description below or pinned in the live chat. So let's get to it here. Had a couple days off, had a good week last week. We've been rolling so far. Let's keep it going and look at our sides and totals for today. First up, Pelicans minus 13.5 at Portland, minus 110 on FanDuel. Folks, I clearly did not realize the depth of the tanking for Portland prior to my pick last Friday. Remember, Houston came in, they were favored at Portland. First time all year that the Rockets were favored, and they pulled it out no problem. The Trailblazers are a league worst, 29-45-1 against the spread. They have not covered in 5 of their last 6 games. They've lost 8 of 9 straight up. They've lost 14 of 16 straight up. Their last cover was March 21st against Detroit, and they still don't have Justice Winslow for tonight's game, which they had for that game as well. Now, here come the Pelicans. They are relatively healthy. They may not have Jonas Valanciunas for tonight because of right foot soreness. Not a problem. Brandon Ingram has returned, and he's been scoring in a big way. And, of course, we have one of my favorite narratives, always the revenge game narrative tonight for longtime Blazer C.J. McCollum returning to Portland. Portland's last 14 losses have been an average of 24.7 points, 24.7 points, and those are against some teams not nearly as good as the Pelicans. Pelicans need this game. They are just one spot ahead in the Western Conference playoffs to San Antonio and the Lakers for that 9th spot. They want that home court advantage in the 9-10 game. Last 2 weeks, Pelicans actually have the 3rd best defensive rating in the entire league, trailing only the Grizzlies and the surprising Magic, while the Trailblazers are the worst defense during that span. Trailblazers not playing well, not healthy, just not a team you want to back here. If you look at Portland, who's going to score for them tonight? Is it going to be a big CJ Ellerby game? I just don't think so. Portland gets up for a game tonight that they need against the Pelicans. They don't need it. The Pelicans do. And last week, when they had a chance, Portland, and they hosted Houston, they lost by 19 and 17 points on consecutive nights at home. Line open at 11.5. I got it at 13.5. Some places it's going to 14. First pick today, Pelicans minus 13.5 on the road to keep it going against a Portland team that has no interest in competing. Second pick for this game, New Orleans versus Portland, under 226, minus 110 on DraftKings. I'm taking the under here. Pelicans are the second best team to the under in the NBA this year. They're at overall 44-31, second only to the Mavericks. New Orleans has 5 unders in their last 6 games, and they're the number 1 team overall in unders on the road. So as a road team, they hit unders at a rate 23-13 so far this year. Portland's defense has been brutal, but that is not necessarily equated to overs, especially at home. Trailblazers are 22-17 to the under at home, which is the 5th best mark in the league. Trailblazers, 4 unders in their last 6 games, one coming actually one of those overs because of OT. Pelicans tend to slow down in the fourth quarter. We've made some picks along the way. They've gotten burned in the fourth quarter because they really do lock down. So second pick here on this game, and under of 226 points, going with that one. So Pelicans laying the points and hitting the under. Make sure to get those questions in the chat. Karsten Creasy is certainly doing really well, laying down money and winning money here on BettingPros. That's what we love to see. Next game, I'm sticking with the Heat. Yes, I understand if we get this one wrong, you're going to say I have take lock, but I'm going back to Miami one more time. Miami +5 tonight at Boston, minus 110 on DK. I can't quit them, and I am not going to quit the team that is currently number 1 in the Eastern Conference and is getting 5 points on the road. Look, Miami's had their issues. They lost 4 games in a row, but they did look good in a 123-100 bounce-back win at home over Sacramento. Boston is 39-34-3 against the spread, which is solid, but they're only 17-19-2 at home, so they are under the spread. They are under the spread 500 mark in home games. The key tonight, folks, no Robert Williams, their center knee injury. I think that really does limit their defense. The Celtics have been outstanding. They've been playing great basketball, and they've been great on defense. But when you take one piece out, it's a domino effect, and there's a continual effect when you take out your center. Rim protection is going to be an issue. I think it changes the interior. I think Bam Adebayo could do some things tonight. And we need a vintage Miami effort, which I think what we're going to get tonight against a Boston team that has crushed them twice this year. This line is too high, even for Boston, who's 8-2 in their last 10 games. They've covered 6 of 7 Boston, and they're hot. And that's why this line opened at 4 and got pushed up to 5. I am taking Miami +5 here against the Celtics. This is a very close game. It's a one-possession game, and I do think that the Heat can actually win it. So when you think the underdog can win and you're getting 5 points, I like taking them. I will take Miami here, getting the 5 points. Next up, this is a line that has come down. Dallas -2 at Cleveland, minus 110 on FanDuel. These are 2 teams going in opposite directions. Mavericks are scalding hot. They're 12-4 in their last 16 games and 18-6 in their last 24 games total. Dallas has something to play for here. It's the 3 seed, and they're just one game behind Golden State. They get that 3 seed. They're one step ahead of the 4 seed, and they could play any of the 3 teams, Minnesota, Utah, or Denver. So it's not like they're trying to line up their first round opponent. There's a lot of unknowns. Mavericks are on a second night of a back-to-back, which I think is why people are on the Cavs tonight, but they routed the Lakers in that game, 128-110. Luka Doncic, 34, 12, and 12. He only played 30 minutes, so he certainly rested. I don't see him sitting tonight. Cavs are decimated with injuries. No Jared Allen, of course, but now they lost Evan Mobley for 3 weeks after his injury. I bet Darius Garland has a good game for Cleveland. Larry Markkinen left the last game briefly with an injury. He could have to play center. Kevin Love will now need to play even more minutes than he normally does. Spencer Dinwiddie out for Dallas, but Josh Green played and actually had a nice game against the Lakers, so he got his feet wet. Could take those minutes there for Dinwiddie, who won't be in there. No Rondo for Cleveland still. Do I think Cleveland plays hard for the first half or 3 quarters? Absolutely. But what Dallas does, and I've seen it on multiple times, and I've benefited financially from this, Dallas makes a push in the 4th quarter. Their defense is among the best in the league. They have the best player on the floor in Doncic. Line is dropping. I only need the Mavs to win by 3, and I will take it. Dallas as a favorite -2 at Cleveland, -110 on FanDuel. Last side here. Again, if you have any questions, make sure to get them in the chat. Robert wants to know, is Miami done with their infighting? Robert, I think so. I think that you're talking about a veteran team. The argument was between Butler and Haslam. Haslam basically accusing him of playing soft and saying you couldn't do that in my era. Spoelstra jumped in. You have a veteran team with Kyle Lowry, with Butler, with Bam, with all those guys. Tyler Hero should play. They moved Max Strus into the starting lineup. Now Duncan Robinson's coming off the bench. That blow up is not an issue for a veteran team. I think they're done with their infighting, and I think they make a statement tonight, which is why I like them. Good question. San Antonio +5 versus Memphis, -105 on FanDuel. I am taking the Spurs and going against the scalding hot Grizzlies for my last side in total here before we get to the props. This line opened at Memphis -7. Why? Because the Grizzlies have been in fuego. They've been destroying teams even without Ja Morant. The majority of bets from the public are going to be on the Grizzlies. And you know what? I'm not buying it. The line is actually going down from 7 down to 5 now. It's going in the opposite direction. Reverse line movement, always something we want to pay attention to. One thing about this win streak that the Grizzlies have been on without Ja Morant. They won at Houston, not that impressive. And then they had 5 games at home. Brooklyn, Indiana, Milwaukee, Golden State. All those games were at home. I'm not so sure that the Grizzlies are so good, and they're good, that they can go on the road without Ja Morant and start covering, pretty decent sized spreads. I don't think so. Spurs are only 31-44, not a great year, but they have won 4 in a row, 5 of 6, and now they return home. I think this is a massive DeJounte Murray game. We can get to that in a little bit. Memphis is the best team in the NBA, 50-26. That's 66% cover percentage against the spread, but this is a spot play. Grizzlies, law of efforts, fantastic job. No Ja Morant. They've been scalding hot, but they've been home, unless you want to count it Houston. Now they go on the road at San Antonio. I'm backing the Spurs here, +5 against Memphis, -105 on FanDuel. Let's hit some props now along the way. Make sure to check out our prop bet cheat sheet, bettingpros.com/cheat sheet. Tremendous values. The prop tool that we have here is great. It's hitting at about 56 to 57% for our top 20 props on the season. First one, Fred VanVleet of Toronto, under 18.5 points, -115 on DK. I'm going to tell you this, folks. This line is high because if you go and look at Toronto and you look at who they're playing and you look how Minnesota has given up points here to opposing shooting guards, you're going to say to yourself, oh, they get destroyed by shooting guards. But I don't think something is right with Fred VanVleet. That right knee injury is an issue. He has not hit this number for points in 3 straight games. He's only averaging 15 points per game this month. He has missed this number in 7 to 12. He hasn't played Minnesota, so there's no history, but he's going to get Patrick Beverley tonight. So you have an injured VanVleet who hasn't been hot, who's getting a lockdown defender in Beverley. Timberwolves are very giving to opposing shooting guards, which is why I think this line is high, but I'm going the opposite here. We're going to go Fred VanVleet under 18.5 points, -115 on DK for our first prop. Next one should surprise no one. It's all Davion all the time. He's going to Houston, both teams, Sacramento, Houston, terrible on defense. So we're going Davion Mitchell over 21.5 points, -110 on FanDuel. Last 4 games for Mitchell with no De'Aaron Fox. 28 points, 25 points, 22 points, 21 points, and he's getting massive, massive minutes on the court. 35 plus minutes in each of the last 5 games, and he's had 40 plus minutes in 3 of the last 4. They want to see what he can do for them for next year in the future. I like his assist total as well, which have been sky high, but the juice on that is really bad from what I saw, minus 130 or worse. This game projects as a close game with a 229, maybe 230 point total now, with 2 teams that are terrible on defense, with a scalding hot Mitchell who's playing a ton of minutes. Sometimes it's just that simple. Davion Mitchell of Sacramento over 21.5 points, minus 110 on FanDuel. These next 2 picks are done because of the matchup. The Celtics defense is a switching defense. That's why they've been so effective, that they're switching on the perimeter and they're forcing you to hit the roll man. They're forcing you to hit the pick and pop guy. They're limiting your ability to go one-on-one, which means they give up assists. The Celtics have allowed the 6th most assists in the last 2 weeks in only 7 games. Most of the teams that are ahead of them that have given up more assists than the Celtics the last 2 weeks have played 8 games. That's what they allow. They just don't think you can do it well enough. There are 2 players that can do it well enough in Miami tonight, and I'm going over on their assist total for both. First, Kyle Lowry, the point guard for Miami, over 5.5 assists, minus 110 on DK. Lowry, 7.5 assists per game this season. Lowry, 5.9 assists per game this month. Only played Boston once. It was a blowout. He didn't play that much in the early part of the season, and he had 5. I need 1 more. Lowry is going to be essential tonight. This is a critical game. It's one of the feature games, maybe the feature game here of tonight and maybe the rest of the season. This could, with only 1 game separating those top 4 teams, this is critical. Lowry is active. Lowry's going to get a lot of assists. He's hit this number. He's hit this average. I know the Celtics have a great defense, which is why it's low, but they have a great defense because they allow assists, which is what Lowry's going to give them tonight, over 5.5 assists for Kyle Lowry of Toronto. Second assist prop. This one is also way too low. Big game Jimmy. Jimmy Butler over 4.5 assists, minus 110 on DraftKings. 5.6 assists per game this season for Jimmy Butler. 4.6 this month. He's still over. And like I said, Celtics have allowed the 6th most assists in the last 2 weeks. No Robert Williams for the Celtics. That's going to mean Al Horford. That's going to mean Daniel Tice inside. What that means is you're going to have a lot of shots at the rim. I think Lowry and Butler both get there with their assists tonight, so I'm going to ride them both. Butler, Jimmy Butler, over 4.5 assists tonight. You can find that one on DK. Now, I do like the Mavericks, but a player that I really like for the Cavs is Kevin Love. Kevin Love is going to be relied on tonight to put a lot of scoring up, to do a lot of things for Cleveland. And even though he's Old Man River, I think he can do it. 2 bets I like for Kevin Love tonight. Over 20.5 points and rebounds, minus 115 on DK. And Kevin Love over 2.5 3-pointers made. That's plus 115 on BetMGM. So 2 overs here for Kevin Love. His points and rebounds over 24 and over 2.5 3-pointers made. That's plus money for you, plus 115 on BetMGM. Per StatMuse, Kevin Love, 14.4 points per game and 8 rebounds without Jared Allen this year. But they're also not going to have Evan Mobley. So you need Love to play even more minutes than normal, and he's playing in the comforts of his home arena. When Mobley went out on Sunday, what did Love do? 19-7. That's 26. That's over the 24.5, and that was less minutes than he will see tonight. Dallas, 4th most points per game to opposing power forwards in their last 7, and the 2nd most 3-pointers allowed to the power forwards because of the type of defense they structure. I think Garland's going to see Dorian Finney-Smith, so he should have some struggles tonight. He'll have a lot of volume, and he may have a good stat line, but Kevin Love's going to get open shots. And if you're going to give me plus money with Kevin Love at home against a team that's been allowing threes, I will grab it each and every time. 2 for Kevin Love, over 24.5 points and rebounds, and over 2.5 3-pointers made. 2 left. And remember, if you have any questions, put them in the chat. We'll get to them at the end. Next up, PJ Washington, under 16.5 points, rebounds, assists, minus 105 on DK. PJ Washington against the Knicks this year in 2 games, 6 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist. On the road this year, 9 points and 5.2 rebounds and only 2 assists. I don't think PJ Washington has a big game tonight. The Knicks have been playing fantastic defense. They are doing anything but tanking, but they're locking down at home here against Charlotte. RJ Barrett, maybe Julius Randle get going here. On the other side, LaMelo Ball's playing big minutes. He's scoring the ball. You've had Hayward, who's trying to come back. I don't like PJ tonight at all. He sometimes gets in foul trouble. And if you look at his last 5 games, he has not hit over 10 points per game in 4 of those 5. So PJ Washington in the Garden tonight for Charlotte. We're going under his points, rebounds, and assists, which is at 16.5. And the last one here, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope at Washington, under 15.5 points, minus 115 on DK. Fascinating game here, folks, because I don't know who wants to win it. Both Orlando and Washington are tanking, trying to get better position for the NBA draft. Orlando, the one thing they're doing is playing defense over the last couple of weeks. As I mentioned before, second best defensive rating of any team right behind Memphis in the NBA over the last 2 weeks. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope at home. There's no Kyle Kuzma. This is an Orlando team that is really back and forth, but they're locking down. They're playing at a slower pace. I don't trust good old KCP today at home, under 15.5 points, minus 115 on DK. So just to recap for us, folks, going back to the picks and the sides, Pelicans at the Trailblazers, laying the 13.5 and an under 226 for a Trailblazers team that is decimated by injuries and looks to be is not only losing, but they're losing by 20 to 24 points per game. Miami +5. I cannot quit it. The Heat +5 against the Celtics without Robert Williams, which I think is more important than people realize. Dallas -2 on a line that's dropping because the Mavs, even though they're on a back-to-back, did not play a lot of minutes last night to their starters because they won comfortably. San Antonio getting 5 against a Grizzlies team that's been hot, but now has to go on the road and win on the road without Ja Morant. I really like that one. And our player props, of course, Fred VanVleet, because of the knee injury, under 18.5 points. He gets Beverly tonight. Davion Mitchell, until he proves me otherwise, over on everything. 21.5 points here. Kyle Lowry and Jimmy Butler on their assists to attack the switching defense of the Celtics. Kyle Lowry over 5.5 assists. Jimmy Butler, big game Jimmy, over 4.5 assists. Kevin Love, maybe in the starting lineup, fingers crossed on that one, against the Mavericks without Evan Mobley, over 24.5 points and rebounds, plus over 2.5 3-pointers with plus money there for Kevin Love and those 3-pointers at plus 115 on BetMGM. And the last two are unders. PJ Washington at the Garden, under 16.5 points, rebounds, and assists, and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope of Washington, under 15.5. Folks, don't forget to join us on Friday. Big giveaway. Who would not want a Dennis Rodman Chicago Bulls championship autographed jersey? Make sure to subscribe, hit the like button, and then come back here. Make sure you do it before Friday. Ask us a question, and one person will be selected at random. Betting Pros. Check out the site. Check out the app. My picks will be in there. All great stuff. Mike Randall at Randall Rant. Make sure to follow me. We will see you on Friday.